Hallo, goedemorgen Marie. Good morning. I am. Oh, het is nog niet morgen in Nederland. I'm just working on a personal project. This is a weeping willow tree. It's so pretty. I can't wait to have it finished. I'm going to frame this for our living room. Just adjusting things here as I get started. I use this little clip. This is something that I just came up with because this one is the one that I'm tugging on the most. The thread tends to slip, and that clip helps it to not slip so much. It still might slip a little bit. It just depends on the thread that I'm using as well, because with this this linen thread, it doesn't slip quite so much, but with the silk threads, it really does. So it's a nice little trick. I love making leaf tallies. Leaf tallies they're tricky, especially at first. It's all about the tension of your threads, and there's lots of different ways to make leaf tallies. There's different ways to hold your bobbins to get the right tension, and this is just how I feel the most comfortable making them. Hey Jessica! Okay, so the other interesting thing about this is that I'm working on the back of the pattern. So these leaves, in order to make them leaf shapes, is I create a chain and then I hide the chain on the back of it. And then when I flip it over, you won't be able to see that chain on the back. It'll just be hidden and it'll look just like a perfect little leaf. A knot in my thread here, but I can also hide that on the back. This is a personal project simply because it is such a time-consuming project. Something like this I would give away as a gift or just keep as a personal project. These really time-consuming ones. With leaf tallies, this is the thread that's moving, so it's going under and around the outside, underneath the middle one, over and around the outside, and then I tension. I got really good advice from a class I took, which said to only tension on one side when you're going around, and so I always tension on this side. How many years does it take to learn this? The basics of bobbin lace aren't super difficult to learn. I have a playlist here for beginners, you can learn the basics that you need to know to get started with just a couple of lessons. And then everything after that is practice. There are different things that are more challenging. Leaf shapes, leaf tallies, they are more challenging. They're a more advanced technique, but that doesn't mean you can't do them at the beginning. And in fact, you should, because you can't get good at them unless you make them a lot. But yeah, just the basics, you can learn fairly quickly. But to get like good at it, I guess I would say with the basics, like maybe 6 months before you would feel confident in the lace that you are creating, just for the basics. And then everything builds on that. One of the things that's tricky at first is the tensioning of your threads, and that's just something that you just have to make a lot of lace, and it's a kind of a feel how much tension you should be putting on your threads, and really the only way to figure that out is just to make lots of lace. So, and for these leaf tallies, normally well, if it was a different design, I wouldn't be making knots here, but just because of this design, I am. So now I'm going to chain stitch so that I can hide the chain stitch behind. Hey Jessica, I am making this pretty weeping willow tree, and I'm going to frame it, and it's going to be some decoration for our living room. This is not my design. This is from a website called Padrons Roca. It's a Spanish website. I don't know if they ship outside of the US, but they have really pretty patterns. And I've purchased several patterns from them. I saw this pattern on Pinterest years ago, and I thought, oh, that's my goal pattern. I want to be able to make all of those leaves, because leaves are tricky. So this is not sponsored, it's not an advertisement. It's just a pattern that I enjoy making because it's such good practice for leaf tallies. Yeah, so the website, here I wrote it down because I figured people would ask. This is the name of the website. And again, they mail out physical patterns, and I don't know if they have PDF patterns to download or not. And I don't know where they ship to either. So it's just, yeah. Isn't it pretty? I just love this pattern. So this one is not my pattern, but I really like this website. And the reason I pulled this up is because I have all of these pins in here, and I don't want my threads to constantly be getting stuck on all the pins. I have a new pattern coming out as well. Maybe next week. It's in the stage where I can start filming the tutorials for it. for being here. I hope that you can get some good sleep. I actually got to sleep in this morning. It was so nice. Thank you everyone who's liking the live too. Hey Mark. Oh, pulled that too tight. I started learning bobbin lace about 3.5 years ago. I think that's about right. I live in Galicia, Spain. And the area of Spain that I live in is famous for their bobbin lace. So because it's such a big part of the culture and heritage here, most of the consejos, the cities, offer classes, kind of like community ed, taught by experienced lace makers. So I started attending class in person, and I attended class for 2 years so that I could learn the basics. Oh, I'm glad you found me, Nutmeg. So class was once a week for 2 hours, and we would learn new things and work on projects, and most of the people in the class went kind of as a club, because it was me and a little girl who was 5 years old. We were the 2 new people, the actual students, and everybody else started learning when they were 4 or 5 years old. Oh, I don't need this pin, I can use this one. And so they all knew how to make lace, but they came because the teacher had all sorts of great patterns, and so she shared her patterns, and oh, I grabbed the wrong one. And then people would just come and work on projects and chit chat, and it was just fun. It was fun, nice time to get together and socialize and see what everybody's working on, which is always really fun. But yeah, I attended for 2 years, and now I'm in a lace guild here. Chubby, I have a playlist here on my channel for beginners, and that's a good place to start. You don't need anything fancy to try it out. You don't even have to have bobbins. You can use pencils and washi tape. And you just, you need like a firm foam surface that you can pin into. So think of a pool noodle. That's about the kind of firmness that you are going for. One of my moderators used a pool noodle to start, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's the perfect it's so perfect. And now I can tell people, like, that's the kind of firmness that you want. Art communities, yes, art communities are amazing. You can all learn so much from each other. And then for thread, Melissa, oh my gosh, I love that. Yay, Melissa started learning. For thread, as you get started, you don't have to have anything fancy. You don't have to buy bobbin lace thread. I always suggest for people at the beginning, use embroidery floss, because it comes in so many pretty colors. And when it's all sorts of different colors, you can see more clearly where your threads are going. And so if you're familiar with embroidery floss, it comes in 6 strands, and 3 of the 6 strands, so if you separate it, 3 of the 6 strands is like, it's perfect. You don't want to go too thin at the beginning, just because it's harder to follow your threads when the thread is really thin. And yeah, someone said it looks really hard to do. What I'm doing right now is leaf tallies. Leaf tallies are harder. And I make them pretty slowly compared to the ladies, you know, in my lace guild who have been making lace for 80 years. But we all have our own techniques, and the thing is, it's not a race. It's making the shapes. The thread I'm using right now it's Spanish linen. There's a weaver at the castle who grows fields of flax every year. Oh my gosh, Melissa, what a treasure. Jessica, yeah, give it a try. It's so relaxing, and it's such a satisfying craft. I love the sound, and yeah, exactly. Forbidden Forest. I agree, because it's not a race, and I think for me, and I've heard, you know, from other people that they were so intimidated to start at the beginning, because usually when you see someone making lace, they're working really fast and you're like, oh my gosh, I could never do that. But we all start really slow, and it's not a race. I learned partly I learned in person, and then partly from books as well. There's lots of books out there. And then I started my YouTube channel because I realized that there were other people that wanted to learn, and I could help people learn. It's not as complicated as it looks when you're watching someone who is just working. Because really you're just working with two pairs at a time. And yeah, it can get pricey to get all of the equipment to get started, which is why I also recommend to people start with pencils, and you know, unless you think, oh, this is it, this is the thing I want to do, you know, you don't have to spend a lot of money. If you're a bit of a craft hopper and you want to try all the things, you don't have to have the perfect, you know, bobbin lace pillow and setup and all of the things. You can make lace even if you don't have all of the fancy bobbins. But when you do start to fall in love with it, because you probably will, then that's when you start, you know, getting a collection of bobbins. And you can even create your own pillows. The pillow that I'm using right now is a Galician bolster pillow, and it's a traditionally made, it's stuffed with straw. Yeah, definitely. I think all of these fiber arts have something that, pun intended, but they have that common thread. You know, there's this thing that is similar about all of them in a special way. Just little things, like they're easier to work with when they're all about the same length, so that's why you see me adjusting the length sometimes. This particular piece it's been so time consuming because of all of this little work that has to be done, like these sewings in. Yeah, you should definitely give it a try. Yeah, my little claw clip. Do you like that? I started doing it when I was working with silk thread, and it was so slippery. Some thread you know, when you work with it, you realize, oh, this is so slippery. It doesn't want to stay on my bobbin. And I'm so glad that I thought of that. So I'll show you. Because I'm constantly pulling on this one, I use this little claw clip on it. It helps. It's not a 100% foolproof, but it does help the thread from slipping too much. Thank you, everybody, for being here and chit-chatting with me. Oh, wow, Melissa. That's a really good price. Oh, here I started making a leaf just because it's like back and forth, but I don't need to. I need to make a chain here. I need to chain down. Oh, wow. That's so cool. Yeah, flax. She grows flax, and she has the thread made, and she's the weaver, one of the weavers at the castle, so she weaves linen as well. I love it so much. I make pieces of lace for her, and sometimes what I ask for is either linen from her, or I'll ask for thread. So I was there yesterday to deliver a piece of lace that she ordered, and I got more of this color because I love this color so much. Okay. How many have I made? How many pieces of lace have I made? Oh my gosh. Hundreds and hundreds. I love making lace. If I could just make lace all day, I'd be happy. But I have to do other things too. I got a piece of linen from the castle to sew this onto later because I want to frame this for our living room. Linen is crazy expensive. Oh, she doesn't. She doesn't. Maybe, I do have some supplies in my Etsy shop. I wonder if she would be interested in having a shop, or if I could sell her linen as a supply. I also asked, in exchange for making lace for her, if she could give me lessons on her big loom. I want to weave on her loom so bad. And she said yeah. So that'll be someday. She said, I have to be at the end of a piece, which I understand, because she doesn't want me to mess up in the middle of a piece if I'm gonna mess up. So let's see. I have another order I need to make for her, so when I go back, maybe it'll be a good time. She did ask me the other day too about my online business, so maybe she is curious. I'd be happy to explain to her how I do things. How did you find the art, Jessica? My mom was in a fiber art guild when I was younger, so I feel like I must have seen it, and I always thought it was cool. But then I just happened to move to like the lace capital of Galicia, Spain, and so I was just lucky. I was just lucky that I moved here, and it's such a big deal. So everybody I know knows how to make lace. All of my neighbors learned when they were, 4 and 5 years old. I've been working on this piece. I've been working on this piece off and on for like a month because I have been saving it for when I'm at the castle. And so I haven't been working on it constantly. I've been fulfilling other orders. I have 5 lace pillows, so I have other projects going on. But yeah, no, if I were to just sit down and make this, I'm trying to think how long it might take me. Maybe like 30 hours? Oh, wow. Well, think about that. Thanks for the suggestion, Shelby. I'll see if she's interested. I don't know if she's interested or not, so we'll see. But again, you can learn online. Like I have my tutorials here. All of my patterns, the tutorials are here on my channel. Rue, my husband's from here. I've lived here for 8 years. That's too tight. Let me know if you have other questions. I will plan to be live more often over here. This video I might, it might go to just channel members after I'm live. But most of my live videos are available for everybody to watch. Yeah, I agree. I love the sound too. I love the sound of the bobbins. And it's so fun when you're in a big group. You can see some of the videos I have here where we get together. They're called shuntansas, or gatherings. And lots of lace guilds get together. And you get to see what everybody's working on. And there are vendors, so we can grab the lace supplies that we need. Gonna need this pin. Yeah, it's interesting. My mom is a knitter, and she knits really amazing things. We love her socks. Oh my gosh, we call them mama socks in our house. And they're almost exclusively the only socks my husband will wear. He just loves them so much. And she tried to teach me knitting. I just didn't have the patience for it. Isn't that funny? I didn't have the patience for it. Maybe I would now, but when she tried teaching me, I just didn't have the patience for it. But this, I have the patience for. I can sit all day and make lace. And I don't know what the difference is. I guess, yeah, it could have been just my age. Maybe I'm calmer now than when I was a kid or a teenager. This is called bobbin lace. These are bobbins. And it is lace, even though it's, I don't know, it kind of looks, at this point, it looks a bit like embroidery or something, just because it's, I'm making all these leaf tallies. Those are called leaf tallies. But leaf tallies, usually you're not making this many all at once, but it's just because I'm making a tree. There's these are also leaf tallies here in the middle of this star. This star is it's in the tree and star pattern, which you can see the whole video here on my channel as well. So you can do them in lots of different shapes. So this is like a star, and this is the same pattern, but I just added more. So then it turns into like a little flower. You can do all sorts of things with leaf tallies. They're really pretty. Clopolin, yeah. Clopolin, dentelle, encaje de bolillos, tombolo, kantklossen, mundillo. It exists just all over. It's in almost every single country in the world. It's actually unusual to find a country that doesn't have a lace tradition. I need this pin. Recommend for a starter, what I would recommend is going to my my playlist for beginners, because you can make all sorts of things with those skills. And then I would recommend, if you go to my Etsy shop, you'll see my patterns. There's a series of patterns that are bookmarks, and they're numbered, so they're in order, and it's a skill building series. So you start, okay, this is how we do this, and then the next pattern is you learned this, and you practice some of that, but you build on it. So it's a really good series to do, and that they're also small projects that you can finish and feel like, okay, I'm done. But someone asked about small, delicate. So this is delicate lace for a fan. So this is, yeah, there's a big difference in the thread here. Let's see. I really like this pattern. I've done it a bunch of times. I just need to put these onto hardware. And so this thread is actually sewing machine thread. That's how thin this thread is. And then if you're just starting, you don't have to spend a lot of money, and you don't have to have all the things, even pencils and washi tape. Pencils and then washi tape to hold your thread on is great. You don't have to have anything fancy. You just need a surface that you can pin into. like a firm foam, like a pool noodle. You don't have to spend a whole bunch of money. And then later, when you fall in love with it, then spend all the money. But even then, you can get good deals, because you might be able to, you might find someone who is getting rid of their lace making supplies, or if there's a fiber art guild or even a lace guild in your area, you might find secondhand supplies. Yep, that other lace, yeah. That's gonna be part of my February goals, is I need to get that lace that I just showed you onto its hardware so that I can put it in my shop. Thank you for being here, everybody. I appreciate all the comments and chit-chatting. Hardware, I'll show you. I have some here I can show you. This is the hardware. So the lace, I will take this off, and then I'll put my lace on top of it. A lot of the hardware comes without this on it. So let me see. Do I have one? I thought I had one that didn't have anything on it. Oh, I do. Okay, here's one that doesn't have anything on it. This is the hardware. So this is the fan, and then I attach the lace to the top. Hey, Axe. Yeah, I do have an Etsy shop. It's Galicia Bee, just like my name here, Galicia Bee. But I've got links in all of my videos too. Yeah. And then we have it's a special kind of glue that we use. Let me see. Here's a fan that's finished. This one's available. This one's in my shop already. Do you have any suggestions on how you can make your own patterns? Yeah, you can just draw your own patterns. If you use graph paper, that's a good way to get started, is just using some graph paper. For my patterns, you'll see, if you just like visit my shop, or if you look at like any of the tutorials here that I have, I use a professional lace program on my computer for some of the patterns, and some of the patterns I draw myself on Procreate. How long do you have to keep the pins for? this one, I'll keep them until the whole thing is done, and then I'll take them all out at once. Do you ever make lace for wedding veils? I haven't yet. I personally wouldn't make like an entire veil made out of lace because I wouldn't have enough time in my lifetime to do that. But I would make lace in meters of it to go around the edge, or even appliques to sew onto a veil or something like that. Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate that. Thank you, everybody who liked the stream. I have a new pattern coming out, I think, hopefully next week. Yeah, a fully lace wedding veil. I've seen some, and they've, you know, thrown out numbers like 100,000 hours, 200,000 hours, and it's a whole team of people working, you know, for a year straight, or even longer, to make an entire wedding veil. That would be like for royalty, or yeah, the ultra wealthy. So oh, lace wise, that's so cool. Marie, I haven't had that problem. My hands, I'm holding them pretty loosely. Kind of like how you hold your hands when you're playing the piano. So I don't really have problems like that. Oh, Paloma, vivo aquí, estoy en Galicia. Vivo aquí en la Costa de la Muerte. Es que de origen mi marido es de aquí y yo he vivido aquí 8 años. Y pues para siempre, porque me encanta. Hey, Crafting with Love, thank you for saying hi. You get your nails done and still do this? Yes, Sabrina. Normally, if you look at some of my other videos, normally I have long nails or fancy nails, because that's one of my hobbies as well, is doing my own nails. But we were just doing some home renovation, and 3 of my really pretty long nails broke, and I thought, oh, I have to cut them all off. Ya, cuidado con la borrasca, sí, es verdad. Hoy, pues, tenemos suerte hoy. Pero la semana pasada, una temporada. ¿Estás aquí en España también? Kira, yep, I'm making this one for myself. This one is so time consuming. I'd have to charge a lot of money if I wanted to sell it. Which, I mean, if someone's willing, I guess I would also, I'd be okay with it, but usually my big projects, my time consuming projects, I keep for myself. Lychee, I have about 3.5 years of experience. I make a lot of lace. Yeah, I make a lot of lace. I was just hooked right away. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love it. So I was taking class for 2 years, and it was once a week for 2 hours, and it just wasn't enough. So I would go home and I would finish my lesson, and then I was looking for more. So I was learning from books and other people here online. Oh, Cindy, how much would I charge for something like this? Maybe like 500. This is yeah, this one takes a long time. Oops, I need to go back because I'm making a leaf. I'm making bobbin lace. How do you know or even remember how to do this? It seems so complicated. At the beginning, it is complicated, and you have to think like over under, and you number your bobbins 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have to think about it quite a bit. But there's a certain point where it becomes muscle memory. Oh, awesome, Lacewise. Yeah. So I have a bunch of tutorials here. And so I've got the playlist for beginners, and then I have tutorials for my patterns here. So you can see how they're made. Yeah, it is like fancy braiding. So right now I'm making a chain stitch. This is a chain, and it is like a 4-strand braid. The tool that I was using, this is a pin pusher and pin lifter. I actually, the supplier, I usually have these in my shop. The supplier is out. I painted this one. Isn't he cute? A little fox running. And I don't have any at the moment. They're supposed to have more in about a week. So Lychee, yeah, Cindy. It could have been one of mine. Did you see it here? There's a lady who I work with in my lace guild, and I was we were at the castle together. We volunteer at the castle to demonstrate how lace is made, and we have our lace guild shop there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love working with her. She is so knowledgeable, and because she's been making lace her, entire life, she just knows all the tricks, and she's so fast. And she's amazing. And so she started when she was 4 years old, and now she's in her 80s. So I just think like decades of experience, and she loves making lace. I love that she loves it. Because there are some people who they do it because it's an extra source of income, but they don't necessarily love it. But she loves it. I love that. Right, yeah, Becky. Amazing. And they're just, chit-chatting at the same time. It's really cool. It's that muscle memory where you can get so speedy. Zoetic. Thank you. Thank you so much, Becky. I don't know. I guess I don't know what to say, Cindy. I don't know for sure. I haven't seen any people with that particular problem, so. Bye, Jessica. Thank you for chit-chatting with me. How hard is it to fix a mistake? It's not hard at all. You can just backtrack your work if you have a mistake. So usually when you're making lace, you're not making knots. This is a special case because of the shape that I'm creating, but usually you don't make knots, and so you can just backtrack. It's very unusual to make knots in your lace, which is what I'm doing right now. But it's just a special, it's just a special design that requires it. Zoetic, I was saying this a little bit earlier. I think a lot of people feel intimidated when they see someone with experience making lace, and I was the same way. I thought, oh my gosh, and I was intimidated. My only regret is that I didn't start sooner, because I just fell in love with it. And you just have to remember that it's not a race, and we are doing things for the enjoyment of it and for learning, and if you're a perfectionist, just get comfortable with the fact that you're not going to be perfect at first. And that for sure is for me, I have always been a perfectionist, and it's a good practice in not being good at something right away. Becky, yes, when I pin it down, it's to help keep the shape. The pins are all here to help create the shape of the lace. This particular pattern, when I'm finished, I'm going to spray the whole thing with a layer, with just like spray it with water, like a mist of water, and let it dry. And I might spray it with a stiffener, just so that it helps keep its shape. This is a piece that I'm going to frame, so it's not going to be super important that it doesn't have to be stiff because I'm going to frame it. Right, Zoetic, exactly. This, and especially leaves. These are, they're called leaf tallies. Leaf tallies are complicated. I was super intimidated by leaf tallies. It took me maybe 2 years before I felt confident enough to work with them. Thank you, Cindy. Have a great day. Good morning, April. Well, I've been live for almost an hour, so I'm getting to the point where I'm going to say goodbye. Right, yes, that's it. Got it. I'm going to reuse this pin. Yeah, but it's so this pattern, I saw it on Pinterest when I first started, and I was like, that's the kind of thing I want to make. I want to make that. But then I learned that leaf tallies are an advanced technique, and I was like, okay, this is my goal. So this was my goal always. And it wasn't until, I don't know, not that long ago where I was like, oh, I know I can make this now. and yeah, it was kind of fun to have a goal pattern. Hey, Jessica. Yeah, this is definitely a slow craft. Why do I clip one of the bobbins and not the rest? I'll show you why. So this is my little trick. When I'm making leaf tallies, I'm pulling on this bobbin more than the other ones. It's just the way that I hold my bobbins. And so the tension can unravel, and the shape is all about the tension of the threads. This little hair clip helps keep the thread on there. So that's why. And it's just the way that I hold my bobbins that I encounter that. It's that I'm tensioning this one so much. And yeah, it's a little trick I came up with when I was working with silk thread, because silk is so slippery, and I just wanted to slip right off my bobbins all the time. Where do you suggest going to learn this? Right here, right here. My I have a playlist here on my channel for beginners. And you don't have to purchase anything to get started. You don't even have to purchase patterns because you can draw them yourself. If you want to purchase the patterns, I have them available in my shop, but you don't have to. first you do when you run out of thread, you tie some more thread on. You wind your bobbin up with thread again, and then you can just keep going. There are several different ways to add thread. You can add it without tying a knot. You can use a lace maker's knot, which makes it pretty much invisible. Thank you, Zoetic. Joseph, actually, bobbin lace exists in almost every country in the entire world. It's actually unusual to find a country where it doesn't exist. The more you know. Sometimes I can just pop them out with my fingernails, but sometimes I need that little tool. Thank you, Zoetic. Have a wonderful day. I'm just going to finish this leaf and then I'm going to take off. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Do something kind for yourself. Don't doom scroll all day. Read a book. Get outside. Make some art. So I already had this bobbin loaded up, and I just ran out on one of my bobbins, so I can just tie this on. I appreciate you all hanging out with me for a little bit while I work on my personal project. And I hope some of you decide to try making lace too. I'll be here again, going live, and then you'll see new patterns and new tutorials soon. Catch you on the flip side. Bye.